What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video, another quick take. I got my partner here,
You already know the most charismatic man in entertainment. Thanks for having me again.
my man. So basically, this quick take today is kind of like a sequel or a continuation of another quick take that we did, I believe, last week. And we were talking about the whole Kanye West White Lives Matter t-shirt debacle that's been going on and so on and so forth. But basically, we have an article here courtesy of billboard.com, and it says that Kanye West Drink Champs interview with NORE has been removed from Revolt and YouTube. Following the interview between NORE and Ye, backlash ensued, with viewers pointing out the controversial rapper's comments regarding the murder of George Floyd and Jewish people. The reason why I wanted to do this was because I take issue with NORE, or the fact that NORE apologized for having Kanye West on his platform. And there's a couple of quotes that I want to go through where he said that I sincerely apologize to anybody who was hurt by Kanye's words and by Kanye's actions. He said, that's why I'm taking responsibility. I didn't think he was going to spread this ideology. I didn't think he was going to go there. I thought he was going to have a couple of drinks. He smoked blunts with us. I thought it was going to be lighthearted. And also, I watched the Dr. Boyce Watkins video, and he quoted NORE, which I didn't hear himself, but from what I heard him say, that he said that it's drink champs and not think champs. And the fact that he was inebriated was why a lot of what Kanye West was doing and saying was going over his head. Now, if you'll allow me actually to give my take first. My main issue is, if you're going to have Kanye West come on your platform, which is not really his platform, but on your show, your segment, stand by that. Because you made a conscious decision to have him on your show in the midst of probably the most controversy that Kanye West has ever gone through in his entire career. Because everything he's doing is probably like taboo as far as what Black entertainers and public figures can do and say on camera and even behind the camera, as far as I'm concerned. So it's like, why have him on there? Like, don't say you didn't think that he was going to spread that ideology, dog. Because that's who Kanye West is. If you're gonna have him on there, you knew damn well he was gonna say everything that he's been saying lately on your platform. You knew that. You knew that for a fact. What did you think he was gonna say? You thought he was just gonna have a couple of what? Come on, bro. Like, to me, I call bullshit on that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you're gonna stand by somebody, like I said, stand by them. You know what I'm saying? If you had a relationship with him, all right, cool. But it's the fact that, and this points to a bigger issue, which, I'll go on to after I get your point. But this points to a bigger issue, you know what I'm saying, at large with Black people, which is why I said in the first quick take that we did about this whole thing, that this is a distraction. That, yeah, okay, Kanye West is pointing out all these different grievances that he has. You could talk about the problem, but so much. Okay, it's what are we going to do right now? You know what I'm saying? So, what's your thoughts on it, bro?
Let me first off by saying I'm a big fan of Drink Champs. I will watch it at work, and I think they do a tremendous thing, giving artists of former glory, current glory, and future glory a platform to openly speak their truth and speak their mind and talk about the history. With that being said, I did watch Kanye West's first interview on Drink Champs, and compared to this one, I gotta say, I don't know what's up with this guy. I don't. And, I think NORE, I think one of the criticisms that people have lobbied at him is fair. Why wait until, the last segment of the show to actually start pointing out some of the things he said? I think for him as a host, when you invite someone like Kanye, a big name who's bigger than you on your platform, it's kind of hard for you to say, this interview's over. Because I did hear that Kanye West was threatening to walk out of the interview. So I think for his mind, he's like, you know what? I already got him here. I don't want to jeopardize his interview. If he leave early,
Right.
I ain't gonna have no content. So I understand that point where it's like, as content creators ourselves, we could get that. At the same time, I think as a minority, as a Black man, he should have checked Kanye West and let him explain what he meant, because hearing these things that he's been saying, I don't know if this dude is on drugs. He something's wrong with him. I used to like Kanye, and I don't think he's a bad dude. I just think that he is I don't even know what's wrong with him. But I think, you know, one of the podcasts we did before about talking about holding black men accountable,
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact they're millionaires and celebrities. We need to start holding Kanye accountable. We need to stop letting him slide. We need to stop letting him say whatever he say and keep moving. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
he's worth billions of dollars, so it's not really much you can tell him. But a lot of these platforms need to stop playing. Yo, Kanye, sit down, especially if you're a black platform. Have that conversation with him. Like, yo, I want to talk about this because I'm seeing that what you're saying is affecting people. George Floyd's family is deeply hurt by his comments. When you say stuff like that, you got to be held accountable. I don't care how much money you have,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes. I don't know who's gonna be, but somebody's gonna have to you know, grow up here and confront this dude because he's been getting away with saying outlandish stuff for the last couple years and nobody's checked him. And I think now is spilling over to the point where people are actually starting to say, you know what, we got to get this dude some help, or we got to set reality into his mind. Uh, you know, I don't know what's wrong with Kanye. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie.
Well, I think we could both agree that NORE brought Kanye West on to Drink Champs to benefit from it because he was going to get millions of views. You know what I'm saying? He gets paid for that. One thing he didn't know was he was going to get the backlash that he got, right or wrong.
Oh, right.
See, now I'm not a part of the Kanye West angry lynch mob. I am not. You know what I'm saying? I think there are some things that he says that I do agree with. And
Oh,
then
of
there are other
course.
things that he says that I 110% do not agree with. Like, for one, I'm not Jewish. Okay. So he keeps, like, that was one of the reasons why I stopped watching the Drink Champs interview, like, in the first 10 minutes, because he keeps trying to say that, like, black people are Jewish. I am not. I can't speak for other people, but don't, like, Kanye West is not my leader. Kanye West doesn't speak for me. And I don't know whoever made Kanye West the designated leader for black people, because he is not. You know what I'm saying? He's the leader of his fans. He is not the leader of me. So I feel like people need to kind of not really associate everybody with what he says. You know what I'm saying? But I am going to point out the fact that there is some truth to the notion that black people do not own their own voices. We don't. Black people don't really own anything. If you really think about it, yes, there are successful, black people that do exist. There are black billionaires, but we make up what, like less than 2% of the total billionaires on earth. You know what I'm saying? Like out of the 2,000 billionaires that exist, which I'll probably have to Google that just to be more precise. But we don't even make up more than 2% of the billionaires that actually exist.
I wouldn't even say more than two. I would say probably
Exactly.
less
Yeah,
than one.
like maybe 1% or a half percentage. We don't even, there's like 8 black billionaires out there. Okay, so that means the lesser percentage of the way lesser percentage of black people actually own anything. And he's right about that. It's not like he's lying. You know what I'm saying? When you trace, like the wealth of somebody like Jay-Z, when you trace back the wealth of somebody like Diddy, it all started from a white person. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Because Revolt is a subsidiary of Viacom or some greater entity. So NORE doesn't own friggin', Drink Champs. Diddy owns Revolt, but who is on top of Revolt? It's like everybody answers to somebody. It's rare that you have a black person that is 100%, that is in 100% ownership of something that grand, if you get what I'm saying. So I feel like people need to, black people, again, because to me, this is really a black conversation. The black people need to really kind of focus on what he's really trying to say. But I feel like Kanye, where he's going wrong is, the problem. Stop focusing and yelling about what the problem is, because guess what? It's not going to go anywhere if you just keep talking about it. It's going to go somewhere when you do something about it. Because there's something that Charlemagne said, years ago in response to, Kanye West talking about the lack of infrastructure and how he wants to be the Steve Jobs of designer clothing and this and that, high fashion, whatever. And he's like, yo, these are rich people problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of what he's talking about has to do with something that he wants for his own benefit, not the benefit for the grand scale of things. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who Kanye West it's not like, it's like I said before. these people need to be doing things. If you're a so-called leader for black people or a leader for whomever, what is it that you are doing to solve the problem? See, it's funny how, Sway told Kanye West, like, yo, you don't need these people to do these things that you're saying that you want to do. He says, yo, you could do it all yourself. The nigga said, how, Sway? How? And then years later, what happened? He apologized to him because he was right. You have the means to own things yourself. Like Dame Dash said that to, Charlemagne, DJ Envy, Angelique. He was like, yo, y'all work for people. You guys don't own the platform of the Breakfast Club. You don't think if Charlemagne says something that the higher ups at iHeartMedia didn't like, you don't think that they will get rid of him and cancel him immediately?
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure if NORE actually had his way, that interview would still be up there. It's because he's got a boss that's telling him what to do. These people can do things they themselves. It starts with us, but it's like, I feel like we're afraid to kind of take that small step that Kanye West is doing. Now, granted, do I agree with the way that he's going about it? No. You could allude to the problem, but you're bringing so much, I would say backlash onto yourself by just attacking. Don't even, it's not about them anymore. It's like I said before, it's not about white supremacy. It's not about it's about us. It's about what we are doing for ourselves right now. And I see that there are black people that are more mad at him than the white people are. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yo, Kanye West, I don't hate him. And I'll let you finish. Kanye West, I don't hate him. He's somebody that I'll take bits and pieces of what I could apply to myself, and then I toss out the rest. So it's like in everything that he says, I'm just looking for the actual what's important. And what I'm seeing right here, what sticks out to me like a sore thumb is we don't own our own voices. We do not. We don't. Black people are signed to record labels. Who own the record labels? White people. Who owns radio? White people. Who owns the majority of the basketball teams in the NBA? White people. Who owns Disney? White people. Who owns the majority of the big movie studios and film studios in Hollywood? White people do. I've been saying this. So it's like, all right, cool. What can we do now? Okay, because everything else is a distraction. All right, because me, if I knew Kanye West personally, I would tell him that. Like, yo, all right, say it one time. Don't go around repeating the same thing over and over and over again. We heard you the first time. All right, so what are you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do about it? Because somebody like me, it's like all I can do with my, minuscule platform is I can just try to spark the brain that can like make change in someone else's thinking. So what did I say before? I said one thing that can cost us nothing but help greatly is the way that we feel about ourselves. And, go ahead.
Oh, no, you 100% right. And that's why, one of the things I was saying was, it starts from home. I think a lot of this stuff, when you talk about the solution, it has to start at home. And one of the things that you pointed out, and I had mentioned this before, is the fact that it just seems like we just don't want to support each other. We like to tear each other down. You know what I'm saying? There's no unity. We don't own anything. And let me say this. I don't hate Kanye West. I actually appreciate the fact that there's a black guy out there who's very successful, who's out there speaking his truth and his mind. Because very rarely do you get to see that in terms of that aspect of the business. However, when I say I don't know what's wrong with Kanye and that he's losing his mind, it's not so much about a lot of stuff he said. I don't care that he's a Republican or a right wing supporter. I don't care about whatever he identify as or whatever the case may be. But when you say stuff like things like George Floyd, saying that slavery was a choice, see, that kind of stuff is what rubs people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And I think there's nothing wrong with another black man checking another black man over saying stuff like this, because I don't know if it's just because his mother's not around and so he just got free reign and this has just been the real Kanye under the surface. But I just think that one of the things he do stand for, and I do appreciate, is the fact that he do raise awareness about Black Lives Matter and some of the scummy things the organizations did. And I think that instead of trying to tear him down, which people has been trying to do, and it's usually our own people that's doing it. Mm-hmm. Like I see so many people dismissing him and calling him all types of nonsense. Oh, we don't claim Kanye. I'm telling you right now, if it was a white dude, they still claim him. I don't care how crazy it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think Kanye just needs someone to stand up to him. And that's one of the biggest problems is when you get to a certain point in life where you don't answer to really anybody,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you have more power than most people have, nobody's willing to step in and check you. And
Right.
I'm sure he has a bunch of yes men, a bunch of yes people that work for him. And a lot of these platforms, when he agreed to do an interview, people are like, oh, Kanye never really does interviews. I gotta have him on. I don't care what he say. And I honestly I get that point, but at the same time, as black people, as minorities, we gotta check each other. Yeah, we can't be letting people like him slide. And I know some
Mm,
people was like, oh, that's just one black dude. Well, you talking about a black dude who has international influence, billions of dollars, and is one of the most popular figures in history,
right,
and
right. Well,
at least music history. But
right. But my thing is we black people, it's not a matter of checking a grown ass man, because again, it's something that I always say. People don't change. Okay. You can't get somebody to change their mind. People just grow into who they're supposed to be. People can feign change for a certain amount of time, but people are gonna have that what I call the 360 moment. And then they're just gonna go right back to what they've always been. They've always been. So it's just like in Kanye, I feel like he had that moment where he was trying to be back normal, just acquiesce to what people wanted him to do. And what happened? He kept just doing back to what he's always done. People need to focus on what's really important, because a lot of times when these things are going on, I'm like, yo, like what's really going on in the world right now? Because it just feels like one big ass distraction to me. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing just feels like one big distraction. There's something really going on that we're not paying attention to. Why? Because we're so caught up in the Kanye West debacle, because it was just a t-shirt. Who cares what he's doing? Focus on what we could be doing as a collective. You know what
right,
I'm saying? Like little things that we could do. Because again, I applaud Kanye West, because we all know that there are a lot of things that black people can't talk about, because if they do, they will get deplatformed, canceled. So at least you got somebody that's kicking down the door and taking the bullets, the bruises, and the arrows and stuff like that to get the conversation going. Because I didn't it didn't take Kanye West to talk about these things for me to know what was really going on. I've been knew that. I was already privy. Somebody had to say it. He's the one that's actually, because remember when I've always said that, like, how many celebrities do you ever really see, these A-list or top tier celebrities, that really talk about what's really going on?
very rare.
No, and
Very
they
rare.
don't. And they don't. You know why? Because again, they don't want to get canceled. They don't want to get canceled because NORE's freaking drink. That's a job. That's his job. Somebody's cutting his checks. That's not his shit. That's why he had to come out and apologize, because his boss told him to do that. This is why people think that Dame Dash is crazy, but yo, it's like Dame Dash, he's like, yo, like calling somebody a boss is like calling somebody daddy. We don't do that. Try your best to own your own shit, so you don't have to answer to nobody.
I completely agree. And that's why I talk about a lot of these issues is because Kanye's not the first. Well, he's the major one. And this is why we need to have someone like Kanye, regardless of, I don't care how you feel about this man. He has resources and influence that very few people have. And instead of tearing him down, help him. You know what I'm saying? He's actually speaking truth in it. And that's one of the problems
Some
is like
truths, yes.
we some truths, yeah. But that's the problem with our society now. Everybody's so negative. Everybody just wants to hate Kanye. Everybody just has no
Angry
truth
lynch
for him.
mob mentalities, angry
Uh,
angry mob mentality.
crab in the barrel mentality. And like he actually makes good points. But it's always it's always overlooked because they want the more negative side of views. And that's what, like, for me personally, I don't blame Nori because, like I said, I've watched Drink Champs, and his platform is not exactly the one where you talk about stuff like this unless the artist wants to. Um, but however, you know, like I said, we gotta hold each other accountable. Like, hey, Kanye, at the end of the day, we talking about a black man who's killed by police. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what conspiracy theories you might have. This is the root of the issue.
Right.
And so
Well, here's my thing though. Here's my thing. See, that this is why I say people gotta focus. Like focus. Like don't like, because let me tell you something. Nothing about the death of George Floyd 2 years ago is going to benefit a black person today, right now. That happened 2 years ago. what is that? What is how he died, when he died? Like, how is that going to matter? What does that matter to anybody today? It doesn't matter. That's why it's like, I would tell people, it's like, if you are going to watch, 3 hour, podcast, because it's still on YouTube, people have uploaded it, focus on what really actually matters. Because don't get distracted by his own personal opinions. Like, focus on the facts. And if you're privy, you know what the facts actually are. No one is saying to talk down about other groups of people. I don't care about what other people are doing. Like, I don't give a shit, because these people that he's talking about, they're already set. They're good. He's saying, he's like, yo, I applaud what they've been able to do for their own people. So how about we focus, take what we can take from him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, if you starve and hungry and you at a buffet, just because the buffet does not consist of everything that you like, are you gonna just not take what you can?
No, I'm taking.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, out of everything that he says, I can actually take something from it and say, okay, you know what? I can actually take this. Yeah, maybe I can leave the rest, but I can do something with this. I can actually do something with this. People are not focusing on what actually matters. A lot of Black people, it's like, yo, don't be so concerned about other groups of people that are not worried about you. They're not worried about you. How many of these people stepped up and freaking did things for Black people on a grand scale? These people we're talking about. White people. Come on now.
No, you're right.
White people were behind the Black Lives Matter organization. They were the puppet masters behind that whole entire shit. I said that in my second fucking podcast 2 years ago. I've been knew that. It's not about that anymore. It's about what you can do right now. It's because Black people, they're so it's like, I think it was, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when the Buffalo shooting happened. And then, because it was that white kid that went to that supermarket and shot and killed 12 Black people, 11 or 12 Black people, right?
Yep.
And then immediately after that, like a week after that shit, then was it in Texas or some southern state where a school shooting was committed? And then it was a bunch of Latino kids and I think maybe a few white kids that were killed. Everybody stopped talking about what just happened to the Black people at the Buffalo supermarket. Dead ass. I watched that. Everybody stopped talking about what happened to 12 Black people that were killed to talk about Latinos and white kids that were killed. And they got actually something out of that. But what did those people get that were killed? You know what I'm saying? Like, focus. You need to focus. It's not about his personal, that's his opinion. It's like, you can't, I refuse to tell somebody how they're supposed to feel. And I'm not going to fight you over your opinion. This is what I said. I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna tell Kanye what his opinion is supposed to be. I'm not gonna tell Kanye how he's supposed to feel. But what I am gonna tell Kanye is what I think he should be doing as a result of what he feels, as a result of what he's pointing out. You know what I'm saying? Because again, Kanye West is not the leader of me. I feel like people are so pissed off at Kanye is because they pedestalize him and they're like, because we put you on a pedestal, if you're going to be up there, if you're going to talk about what we want you to talk about. Why? Like, Kanye West, not the lead, he's not the spokesperson for Black people. It's because, yo, we don't have any Black leaders. And then the leaders that we could have and should have, we pay these people no mind. They don't have as big a microphone as Kanye does. The very few Black leaders that we actually have that are actually for our own people. Like, why doesn't NORE bring Dr. Umar Johnson on there? Like, or freaking Young Pharaoh, like, years ago. Because Young Pharaoh's not the same now, but I'm like, yo, somebody like, give people like that the platform. Don't give it to Kanye. I feel like Kanye, again, his job is done. I would tell Kanye, bro, your job is done. You pointed out the fact that Black people do not own anything. Stop. That's it. That is it. That's what he should focus on. Because I bet you, if that's all he said, if that's all he was talking about, and then he was actually saying, okay, you know what? All right, so this is what the problem is. Black people don't own anything. So here's what I'm going to do. Like, let's say at Tyler Perry Studios, like you mentioned him before. You know what I'm saying? Out of the 15 Black billionaires that I've seen, because I looked it up, Tyler Perry is the only one that I know that has an organization, and then the president is a Black woman. You see what I'm saying? Michelle Sneed and Mark Sneed. They're both Black.
Right.
Who else is doing that?
Yep.
giving jobs. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if you really wanted to work there, like if you lived in Georgia, you probably could work there. What is Kanye West doing? That's tangible. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, we need, and not even just in the entertainment industry, but outside of the entertainment industry. Do something. Do something.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, focus, people. Focus on what actually matters. It's not about, oh, well, he's anti-Semitic. Well, hey, like, yo, talking about that. What's that gonna get you? These people are straight. They're good. They're good. I've never seen not one disenfranchised group of Jewish people ever. Because I live in a town where there's a large community of Hasidic Jewish people, and they're good. They're good. And I see people have been criticizing them for years, but it's like, yo, what is criticizing them gonna get you at the end of the day? What is it gonna get Black people at the end of the day? Because we're the biggest minority in this damn country. Yeah, you might have Latinos, but they stick together. What about us? Right. Instead of being mad at Kanye, focus on the solution. Because I feel like the people that are thinking critically are focusing on the actual point. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's the focal point? What's the point? What's the goal? Where is he going with this? Because if I focus on all of that shit, then I'm going to be distracted from what he actually said, which is Black people don't own their own voice. Him speaking out is saying like, yo, nobody's in charge of my voice. That's why, because I'm pretty sure if he felt that somebody was, then he wouldn't even have said anything. Again, somebody's got to do it.
Somebody got to do it. But you know, one of the biggest problems is, one, Kanye is, you know, he's an outspoken Black man in Hollywood. You know, they don't really like that much. So that's one strike against him. And two is because we are conditioned to criticize. Because I've even admitted, like, growing up, ever since I was a kid, criticizing other Black people. And then I realized, I'm like, you know what? This is something that we need to stop doing. It's not that many of us, you know, and we all in the same predicament. If a road cop feels like you pissed him off that day and you end up dead, you know, you're just another casualty to war. And that's why I say, you know, people like Kanye, when I say hold him accountable, I don't mean throw him under the bus, cancel him. I mean, let him see the points, the things that you don't agree with what he's saying. Let him know that, you know what, this is not exactly right. This is how I'm feeling, because nobody's doing that. However, I will say this. I agree with you. It's because we are conditioned to hate each other, and we're not conditioned to ban each other. Jews, no matter where you go, they always have their community. They always respect them.
They look out for themselves. They love each other. They love each other. All communities have some sense of unity and pride amongst their separations, you know, amongst each other. You know how you have different variations of Jewish people. You have different variations of, you know, different cultures, you know, whatever. You have subcultures, but they look out for each other. It doesn't have to be like that anymore. So again, I'm somebody, you give me the microphone, I'm gonna do something with it. I'm gonna actually do something with it. And then also the problem is they don't want you to actually do that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was as easy as it sounds, and from somebody like me who's on the way outside looking in, it sounds easy, but in reality, it's like they don't want that. They don't really want that, because that, you know, vitriol and hostility and hatred and disdain amongst ourselves, they market that. They actually market that. And then, yeah, they might try to act like, you know, like, you know, how you'll have, you know, like, let's say like a Joey Badass or something. I apparently he had a performance at the BET Hip Hop Awards. And I guess the point of his performance was, you know, to tell rappers to kind of like change their messaging around. So it doesn't have to be about drugs and violence and sex and all that. And it could be about something else. Yeah, they might give this guy a platform to do that, but they might give him the performance to do that, but they might not give him the grand scale microphone to actually say that. And whether or not people will listen to him is a completely different story. Because again, the people that we should be listening to, we're not listening to them. And then when Kanye West is saying something, people are focusing on the wrong thing. So it's like, let's say, it's like people say this a lot, like when you're in a relationship with your girl, like she'll focus on when you called her out of her name. She'll focus on, you know, what you said to hurt her feelings, but not like the actual point of it, if you get what I'm saying. So she'll use that. She'll use the one wrong thing that you said to ignore the other 10 things that you said that was the right thing to say. That's what's going on right now. And I feel like, again, Black people and Black people only, focus on what actually matters. If you don't have to like Kanye West, But the truth of the situation is that we, on a grand scale, yes, there are black businesses out there, right? But we on a grand scale, like the people that you look up to, they don't own anything. They don't own anything. And then the ones that do, they're not the ones that we aspire to. Because you don't hear people talk about Dame Dash a lot. You don't. You don't. Yeah, like we know him and stuff like that, but are people really implementing a lot of the shit that he says? No. And that's my thought on that.
Yeah, at the bottom line, this is how I feel. I think as black people, as minorities, we need to start, advocating for each other. We need to stop waiting for the next black man to get killed by the police. We need to stop seeing, black women being uh announced on the news dead or in jail. We need more positivity, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're so distant from each other is because we don't support each other. It's always negative. Like I say, when I before I used to when I used to see other black men on the street, I get a little nervous. Now I'm like, "What's up, brother? How you doing? Have a good day." I think we need more of that opposed to looking at each other as opposition, as food. Because any other community stands together. Hispanics stay together. Asians don't. You can't even tell me don't stay together. Every uh, group of people have their strong points. I'm not saying black people we the weakest of the weak, but we
We
need
right
to
now,
start
yeah, we
supporting each
are.
other.
Yeah, we are. Like economically, we are the bottom of the barrel, and it doesn't have to be like that because we make up the greater percentage of like consumership in this fucking country.
That's
You know what
right.
I'm saying? And then a lot of what's popular, it starts from us. But until we actually find reasons to come together and to unify, then to find more reasons to fight amongst each other and separate, things will always be the same. Things will always be the same. That's why I always say, like, think critically about things. Like, don't fall victim to collective thought. Just because I see a lot of people mad at Kanye West, don't mean I have to be mad at him. Let me go find out for myself. Let me go hear from the horse's mouth myself. Let me make my own decision. If you go through all of those processes and then you decide you hate him, fine, fine. But if you're black, this goes for black people, but you cannot negate the truths of the facts that he stated, which is we do not own anything. The solution is a lot easier than we think, and it's very fucking simple. Just find reasons to come together. There's so much that separates us and not enough that brings us together. Your people are using the majority of what, like his rhetoric, Kanye West rhetoric, to just keep separating amongst ourselves. But you want better for black people in this country, right? Well, it doesn't start there. It doesn't start there. And not enough people are saying that. I bet you if I was somebody that was famous, a lot of light bulbs would go off. Like, damn, yo, you know what? He's right. He's right. Because I was the first person that told you that. I was like, yo, like, that asked you, when you walk down the street and you see a pack of black guys, don't you get nervous? But then if you see a group of white guys, you're probably not going to get as nervous. I was the first person that I heard saying that. I was the first person that said that. And then I was the first person that I heard that was saying, yo, instead of waiting for reparations and all of these things, how about we focus on what we can do that'll cost us nothing, which is to have pride amongst ourselves, to look at each other and see ourselves. Because despite what other people may think, I look at Kanye West even before all of this and I see myself within him. Just like how when George Floyd died and I watched that video, I saw myself in George Floyd because I have that pride for black people. I don't subscribe to, oh, yeah, Jamaican, Nigerian, Trinidad, Haitian, you know what I'm saying? Freaking down south, up north, east, west, toss. I don't subscribe to black. Black is black. Period. Period. That's what it is. So stay focused, people. Stay focused. Anyway,
That's right.
what are your thoughts? Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.